from Cleveland's most accurate weather team. This is 19 First Alert Plus, sponsored by the man that makes them pay, Tim Misney.
And good morning, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now, coming to you from our digital desk. We all had a little bit of an eye-opening experience this morning. If you woke up and saw snow on November 1st, sort of feels a little bit fitting, but that's going to be short-lived. You can see some snow still on some rooftops there, but even on the ground and where it was sticking, it is basically gone. Let's bring in 19 First Alert meteorologist Kelly Dobeck. Kelly, November 1st, snow. I kind of feel like Mother Nature was very nice. Let us get through October and Halloween, and then bang, a quick reminder, hey, it is just about winter.
All right, officially November, and we had the snow overnight and this morning to prove it. Right now, most of the snow clearing out. We do still have some alerts in effect. A winter weather advisory expires in the next 15 minutes for the snow belt. A lake effect snow warning does continue for Ashtabula County through this afternoon around 1 o'clock. So let's get right to the First Alert Doppler network here. Right now, most of the snow is cleared out. We are seeing a band pushing through right now Lake County through the Madison area, and then again Ashtabula. Some of this is mixing with rain, but this will be really the target area. If we do see any more lake effect hit or miss snow showers develop, it'll be mainly in these areas over here out east towards Lake and Ashtabula counties, especially Ashtabula where that lake effect snow warning lingers. And what's interesting about this, if I turn on the radar loop, this actually, most of this is coming off of Lake Huron. We're getting a little bit of a Lake Erie connection there, but the Lake Huron connection is also what's helping fire up these snow bands that are really impacting Pennsylvania as well. In fact, shut down part of the turnpike early this morning. So speaking of traffic-related issues, we did see a lot of those this morning as well, even after the snow had cleared, because temperatures are cold. They were cold this morning. Out the door, they're still mainly below freezing south of the lakeshore from Akron, Canton, Worcester, New Philly. We're still right around that freezing mark. And because of that, a lot of the ramps, bridges, overpasses, they froze. In fact, I do want to show quickly here a little bit of traffic. Now, ignore the banner because the banner is incorrect. This is actually 237 heading at 480 eastbound. So 237 northbound at 480. The ramp, it looks pretty much iced over, if you can kind of see here. This is 237 again northbound near the airport, near Hopkins, totally shut down because of this spin out. And this is something we were pretty familiar with through the morning, Dan. We saw a lot of spin outs, a lot of delays. In fact, 237, we're still looking at delays over an hour because of a crash, again, on the ramp to Route 8.
And Kelly, what I want to do is, because this is really our first taste of snow, if you can go back to that radar and explain to people lake effect, because I think a lot of our viewers, obviously probably born and raised here, but this is the perfect example of what lake effect is. Explain for us the wind coming across the lake. Of course, the lake is not frozen. We hope, or maybe hope it doesn't freeze. Explain to us what lake effect is for this First Alert weather day.
Yeah, because if you're waking up over in Mansfield or Ashland and you're like, why are we focusing so much on the snow? We didn't even get any snow. It's all because of this lake effect setup. So last night we had a burst of snow push through along a system that moved by. So everybody got a little taste, the first flakes. Most of it moved through towards the end of trick-or-treating. You got a few of those snowflakes in there. When that moved through, it triggered a north-northwest wind. So when I turn on the loop and zoom out on the Great Lakes, look at all the moisture coming off of all of the Great Lakes. So what happened when that system moved through is it changed the wind direction. We got a more north-northwesterly wind. And for a lake effect setup to really be prime, we have to look at different layers of the atmosphere here. So simplifying this a lot, we've got a big open water, Lake Erie waters that are still fairly warm. You get a big blast of cold air moving over. That difference makes the setup for lake effect snow. It brings in that instability, warm air over the cold air moving in over the warm air, creates that potential for these bands to develop here, and that's exactly what we're seeing through this morning. So lake effect is very dependent on where the bands set up, where the bands like to hang out, what we like to say in the weather department, where the bands persist. And where the bands are persisting right now is because we've got this Huron connection out to the east of Cleveland. So that's why we saw so many random areas along 271 this morning. Quick little burst, a quick little band fired up. That's what caused major headaches flakes just along one section of 271. You traveled like 5-10 miles north, it was totally fine. So that's those rapidly changing conditions. That's what happens in a classic lake effect setup. So a lot of times, someone will ask me when we get a winter weather advisory for lake effect, hey, what about Menor? What about Chardon? How much are we going to see? I see, well, it all depends on where the bands persist. And we can use our weather models and use elevation to get an idea of where some of the higher bands will set up. But a little shift in the wind, 5-10 miles an hour, changes, Chardon versus a city very, very close over, Chardon versus Orwell versus Middlefield, getting 2 inches to getting 10 inches. So it all just depends on where these bands like to set up and where they like to persist. So it's a lot of nowcasting as we head through the morning.
Excellent, Kelly. That's an incredible explanation of lake effect. Again, most of us, I think we get it. We've lived around the lake long enough to know that wind comes across and does some pretty nasty things. But heading into winter now, a pretty good reminder. We're going to take a 10-second break, look at the rest of the week, and perhaps our next possible shot of snow for everyone. Give us just 15 seconds.
I've represented families just like yours for over 4 decades. Listen, if you need me, call me. I'll be there for you, and I'll make them pay. In the meantime, I'll keep an eye out for you.
Okay.
And we're going to look at our 7-day. And Kelly, I must have misspoke. I thought we were talking in our morning meeting just here in the newsroom. That's why we are not meteorologists. Somebody was saying that we had a potential maybe early next week for snow, but I'm glad to see a 60-degree early next week. That's not too shabby.
Yeah, well, I've been a little all over the place this morning, Dan. I've been having a lot of different shoes on, from anchor to traffic. So looking at the extended forecast, I was convening with my First Alert meteorologist team here, Erica and John Loffman, both here. Wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything either looking at the extended. And Erica did mention there's a brief chance Tuesday night we could see some snowflakes mix in. So you did not hear incorrectly. I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. But let's break down today. We've got a First Alert weather day, the wintry mix coming in, mainly ending right now. We've got that threat for some of that snow to linger far east through Ashtabula, eastern Lake County. Temperatures in the 40s, and then overnight we're going to be pretty cold again. But you also saw, Dan, big improvements on the way in the 7-day forecast. Near 50 Thursday, mid-50s Friday. Heading into the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, we're approaching near 60 degrees just in time for us to change the clocks. Brown's game day forecast does look good. Can't rule out it does look good. Can't rule out an isolated shower. Temps will be near 60 degrees Monday before another shot of cool air moves in. For Election Day, we'll be keeping a close eye on that because, the weather patterns can impact whether or not folks do decide to go out and vote. And as you mentioned, as temperatures get a little bit colder, late day Tuesday, we can't rule out some of those snowflakes mixing in. So we're getting into that time where we do get into these temperature spikes here. We'll go up, back down, and it will bring that threat of snow mixing in anytime those temperatures get into the 30s.
And again, I think that was Mother Nature giving us just a little bit of a smack across the face, just a quick reminder, hey, it's November and this can happen at any moment, but it looks like we're done for at least the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of posts about Mother Nature deciding to dress up as winter for Halloween, and she did a good job on her costume.
She did. 19 First Alert, Kelly Dobeck, we appreciate it. Today is a First Alert weather day, and we want to drive that home. Anytime there's weather that's going to impact your day, we issue First Alert weather days. You'll see that right here on Channel 19. Kelly, thanks for the time. Thanks for checking in.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, take care. One last look live into downtown Cleveland here. Some interesting clouds there. It is going to warm up. We are 36 degrees as we get a little closer to 40. What may have been a shock this morning on your front lawn, on your bushes, will more than likely be gone by mid-afternoon. If we have any other breaking news or breaking weather situations, it'll be right here on our 19 First Alert on our digital properties. Otherwise, I'll be anchoring our 11 o'clock news coming up on CW 43, and then Nicole Versansky on our noon news on Channel 19. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Have a great afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media at Cleveland 19 News.